Hello and welcome to the Henshin Infinity podcast. Today we're going to be talking about Shin Kamen Rider. And my co-host today, first up, John.
Yo-hoy.
Next up, we've got Scott.
Miyamo.
Next, we've got, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Elisa.
Min Keisuke.
And finally, Nexus Kiryu? Alright. So, I probably butchered about half of that. Anyways, we will continue. And today, are you all ready to talk about Shin Kamen Rider?
Yes.
I'm more ready to talk about the Barbie movie, honestly.
That or
would be a
Oppenheimer.
separate podcast.
Great, now I've got the song Barbie Girl stuck in my head. You're welcome.
Right?
Let's go party.
Isn't it always a party with Toku?
Oh, always.
Yeah.
Until somebody dies, and then it's just sad.
The
No,
party starts
No.
afterwards.
It can still be a party. Sometimes it's Christmas.
oh
Right.
God.
I was thinking Kamen Rider Laser myself when Scott said that.
Well, that's what I was thinking too. And now I've got Pop.
It's the one that started the trend.
Now I've got Poppy dancing stuck in my head.
Two Barbie Girl?
Oh God.
No, it's Caramel dancing.
Come on, Poppy, let's go party.
Yeah.
So if we get a copyright strike, you know why.
The one time my inability to sing on key is going to help us.
So we're a pretty new group. Some of us haven't podcasted together yet, so it's a good way for us to break the ice.
By singing Barbie Girl?
Yeah.
Nothing
For everybody.
better.
All right.
This is a wonderful first podcast experience.
It is.
I'm glad.
I totally messed up your name, didn't I?
Oh no, you actually did get it right. It is Elisa.
Oh, okay, awesome.
You got my last name wrong. How dare you?
Oh, okay. I knew I should have just stuck with the Nexus part.
Yeah, that's why I said. That's why I was like, if you don't know Japanese, it's probably better to just pick the first name.
He has some trouble pronouncing Kyoryuger, so, like...
Yeah.
In fairness, didn't everybody?
Not me.
Let's start with the opening, which for me, I haven't felt well, so I couldn't watch the first parts of it because it was really flashy and moving, and I've had like really bad headaches. So like all of that was not like the perfect thing to just jump into. So anybody else want to start with the beginning?
Well, actually, I kind of feel like that's not a bad place to start at all, talking about how jumpy everything was. Because I know one of the things that you and I in particular have talked about is, we'll get a little more into it as we go on, I'm sure, but the structure of the movie, it almost felt like two different movies in terms of the directing. The first half felt very different than the second half, and the jumpiness and the unnecessarily weird camera angles and things like that were part of what really felt off about that first half.
But if you need a director because of Evangelion and Shin Godzilla, as well as Shin Ultraman, it all fits. It all makes sense how that all went down.
It felt a little over the top to my taste, honestly.
I remember watching Shin Godzilla, and I don't remember the and I'm just speaking about like the really quick cuts. I don't really remember that many quick cuts in Shin Godzilla, but the other movies you mentioned I haven't seen. So
well, in Shin Ultraman, there's definitely a lot of weird cuts, a lot of weird angles, and all that.
Yeah.
That's good to know because I plan on watching it.
I don't think there's as much, like, shakiness. Like, I know there was a bit of, like, shakiness during some of the beginning motorcycle scenes and, like, the chase scenes.
Yeah.
But in Shin Ultraman, but it does... I think they were just trying to go for he was trying to go for some more of the Showa era stuff in certain parts. There's not all the time, but there was sometimes stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Showa era Tokyo is very experimental with a lot of its camera angles. So you could definitely see that.
I know one of the things that I noticed, and this is coming from the standpoint of being a photographer, because I am a photographer. I noticed a lot of really odd overuse of fisheye lenses and Dutch angles and things like that, which it's very, very easy to overuse those kinds of elements.
But it makes it unique as well, because the director has been on a couple of interviews and stated that the early episodes of the original Kamen Rider series was some of his favorites, and he wanted to try to capture that same essence, that same weird magic that brought it to life back then.
That makes sense, given that it's essentially a remake of the first couple Kamen Riders.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and like I said, outside of the just some of those cuts, in my opinion, just as somebody who has experienced headaches and dizziness, it was weird for me. But other than that, I did enjoy the fighting. I really enjoyed. I enjoyed the initial setup and just how things went down. Like, I only knew, I haven't watched the original, but I know the story of it, so it was really fun to see how it went. And pacing wise, I thought as a movie as a whole was good, but I also could see that this felt like there were about maybe 6 20-minute-ish episodes.
That was like Shin Ultraman to me. That felt like, I think just the style he was going for was that it was like kind of multiple episodes together formed into a movie.
Yeah, you could definitely see where they were trying to sew episodes together, at least structurally speaking. And that's not an unusual format from my experience for Japanese movies based on older Japanese television shows. That's a pretty kind of standard format that they do with that kind of thing when they're trying to adapt an entire show storyline into a single movie.
I liked it, honestly. Like, I could have, like, it does break it down and pretty easy, and it does help me. I mean, I'm a bigger fan of TV shows than I am movies lately, but that's might have been why I liked it for what it did, because I can just think back to, there's the spider part, the bat part, and so on.
Scorpion.
And when they really flexed to make sure that the spider, the bat, and the bee, the wasp got in there, because those are 3 of the most iconic OG Rider villains.
Yeah.
I really
I was curious why they went that route with those.
Yeah.
Others got smaller bits. Yeah.
The Scorpion one?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen more with the Scorpion.
I don't know why they did that.
Story-wise, I get it, but
Yeah.
they could have just kind of set it off-screen than really give us that to be fair.
Meanwhile, I think they completely off-screens the Cobra entirely, and that's the one that in the original show got 2 episodes, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I think a small movie, actually. A small, release where it was all the villains with the Cobra one. I could be wrong, though.
Because I believe the Cobra is who Ichibanji gets tasked with getting sent to fight at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Well, hopefully there's plans for a sequel.
I hope so.
I would not mind. I would not mind one bit.
I am sad that the Hornet won't be back. I thought she was one of the best parts of the movie.
Oh, she was amazing.
She was.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's some of the directing stuff we talked about earlier. That's right about where in the movie the directing style seemed to change for the better, at least in my opinion. Like, everything from there on forward is just really strongly shot.
I will say I did enjoy the second half of the movie a little bit more, even though I did like the spider guy.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, they had to change their names because in Japan, the first 2 villains were Spider-Man and Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah. And back then there was no real big copyright power, so they had to go with it. And at the same time,
internationally.
Even the 7 Seas release of the original Kamen Rider manga swaps the Spider-Man and Batman man names around to Man Spider and Man Bat.
And Man-Bat's a DC character.
Man Spider did have a couple cameos in Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
Hey, remember... go for it.
Marvel and Toei, especially right around that time period, have a pretty close association, too. Like, I don't know the exact years, and it's more of an association with... Super Sentai, but Marvel and Toei had some pretty close associations back then.
Yeah,
I was gonna say we also had DC's Ultraman, who
who's the evil Superman of the Ultraverse?
Yep. So yeah, they definitely. I mean, we're in a time without the internet back then, so it was probably not. Batman might have been the only thing that really connected because of the whole World War II comic books going overseas and stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But other than that, like, I can see why there was, there's a gap between that knowledge and stuff. But like, Spider Guy is fun.
Yeah, he was amazing.
Amazing.
He was the Amazing Spider-Man.
I thought he was spectacular.
And I'm pretty sure he was ultimate.
I think he was just friendly neighborhood.
I don't know if killing people is friendly neighborhood.
Depends on the neighborhood.
True. But I will say that them going with the augmentation type of names for the monsters and all that, that's a very unique way to go with the modern retelling of it. Instead of just regular cyborgs, they're augmentations.
Yeah,
I like that actually.
Yeah,
because I was thinking, like, in the movie, I'm just like, I know Kamen Rider is a cyborg, and they're all like the same power set, so they'd all be cyborgs. I'm like, I really like how they went with like augmented, and they're a hybrid.
Yeah,
it's more unique than just calling them a cyborg.
Right?
Plus, it lets them decide if they want to mess with the robot aspect of the cyborg or if they want to make them entirely organic.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Plus that whole era of where cyborgs were all the hot rage and all that back in those days, that's all long gone now. No one really cares that much about cyborgs.
That's true. It's kind of a passé trend.
Right?
I mean, I
we
care.
got AI stuff nowadays, and the technology is advanced, and
Zero one predicted the future.
Yeah.
Though we did get AI in this movie with K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they wanted to make them on trend, just make them furries.
I mean, that augmentation
kinda is what they are.
Yeah, they're augmented furries.
Yeah.
That's how we're marketing it, guys. That's the new thing. Shin Kamen Rider is furry bait.
Furries and scalies.
Ooh, rider kick.
Oh, no, I need to draw that.
As for me, I actually saw a leaked. I don't know if it was leaked or if it was properly teased by Toei and all that. But I already saw a little bit of that first opening. I thought that'd be a little bit later. I did not realize that was going to be the first couple minutes of the whole thing. So I pretty much semi-spoiled myself with that, but I was like, it's fine.
In the opening, just with the violence and all, I thought it was a Mortal Kombat movie almost.
It was very jarring. I felt like I needed to take a step back, but I was in a seat in a movie theater just kind of holding my arms out, being like, whoa, man! I don't need to see this first-person point of view of the guy getting hit.
That was something that I've seen a lot of people talking and reacting about online and on YouTube, where they were just like, holy fuck, there's blood! And one of my friends made it the point of, it makes sense with this type of augmentation and all that. Mm-hmm. If they just hit someone regularly, they would definitely go splat like that.
Oh, no, absolutely.
There really were only two aspects of the violence that bothered me. One of them was the blood, and it wasn't even the amount. It was that it looked like Kool-Aid.
I mean, Japan, Hollywood, not really the same.
Yeah. The other one that bothered me, and I'm sure we'll talk about this more a little bit later, I'm just going to say it, you'll know what I'm referring to, the leg.
That was cringe. As someone who had a,
I'm not good with body horror, and I was not happy with that.
I kind of got myself through the leg scene by just thinking he's wearing the boot backwards. That's all he's doing, is he's wearing the boot backwards right now. Because how else would you have done that to that actor's leg? He's wearing the boot backwards.
Yeah, well, it was obviously CG. It was obviously that.
Oh, I figured it was probably just a dummy.
Yeah, I could see it being like a dummy half, or maybe some green screen and a prosthetic or something.
Yeah.
It looked a little too natural for CG, but a dummy or a prosthetic. Yeah, I could see either of those.
Yeah.
Ironically,
I was actually, yeah.
Ironically, I heard that the actor actually did break his leg during the filming of the movie. Ironically,
Ugh.
Oh,
Well, and isn't
he's
that what
following in
happened to
Fujioka's footsteps.
yeah.
really his footsteps?
Yes. Yep.
I said it was. See, I didn't care seeing it on screen, but I was like, I can't believe they did it, but I love that they did it. I don't love looking at it though.
Yeah,
No.
as someone who had a knee injury about
Same.
3 years back, I
sooner.
felt that pain quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. So I twisted my ankle years ago, and so like I just it brought back those memories.
I actually hurt my leg really bad about a year and a half ago, falling off a ladder. Yeah,
Dislocated for me.
I leaned over my bed and I heard a pop, and then I had to get an MRI because I couldn't walk.
Mine was, so I pretty much had the worst one. I had a full-on dislocation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just old.
Aren't we all?
I'm just tussling with the fact that I'm aging now.
Yeah, aging sucks.
Yeah. I remember back in, and this is the worst part, is I remember back in high school, well, me and John did some Dragon Ball Z fighting back in the day when we were young and foolish. And he kicked me in the back, and then a few days later, I couldn't walk. Like, I couldn't stand straight. I had to go to the chiropractor.
Oh my goodness.
Don't be into Dragon Ball Z when you're young, kids.
You know, Dragon Ball Z fighting brings me back onto topic of Shin Kamen Rider. Because one of the things that just bothered me fight scene wise was the midair fight between Hongo and Ichimonji. Just something about that just put me off. And it's maybe the speed or just how robotically fast they were moving. Just something about it. It was like, where are your frames?
It was very Dragon Ball. It very much felt like Dragon Ball.
And that just reminds me of an image that I saw where someone combined all the Shin movies in one. You have Shin Ultraman fighting against the alien bad of that. There's Godzilla in the background. There's Evangelion in the background as well. Then there's Shin Kamen Rider just fighting between all that. It was just a really weird but fun image. Because they were all in oil rigs. They were all in that oil rig area.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
Tokusatsu reuse a set? Never.
No way.
I mean, a lot of Showa Tokusatsu does put them in oil refineries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's a very blatant reference to where they used to actually stage those fights. Or design their sets to look like.
That's probably because that's the one location they had the license to shoot on back then.
Apparently, a massive chunk of Japan's oil was kept in Tokyo.
That doesn't surprise me. Yeah.
That's actually why.
At least it wasn't a rock quarry.
Right?
That would have been classic. That would have really been classic.
Theater.
What was that?
I still love that outdoor theater.
Theaters and everything.
The outdoor theater is probably the most jarring recurring set piece because it's just so random. But there's definitely an era of Super Sentai where it's in every fucking season at least once.
Yep.
I know it was in Jew Ranger. I know it's in some of the older ones. I know it's in Kamen Rider Ghost. I remember it just from all these different seasons.
I remember it from Go Sager, Shin Kenger, Go Kaiser, Go Busters.
And people say Power Rangers are lazy.
Oh, it even popped up in Hurricaneger. It was a major plot point in Hurricaneger.
So, since we were on the topic of the broken leg, what did we all think of Kamen Rider Nigo?
Oh, he was perfect.
He was my favorite part of the
movie.
I was going to say, I want a movie about him. First of all,
I do too.
First of all, his acting is stronger than Ichigo's actor was. I mean, Ichigo wasn't bad, but Nigo was pardon the pun, stronger.
Yeah, he was still, quote-unquote brainwashed, but it still felt like he could still act on his own. He just couldn't defy it.
Yeah.
He also lacked the mullet coming out the back of the helmet.
Loss of 2 points right there, in my honest opinion.
I mean, the original Ichimonji actually never had the hair sticking out from the back of his helmet, so it made sense that it wasn't incorporated into the design because it is kind of how he looked when he showed up in the original show.
Yeah.
He needs to there needs to be a second one so he can wear the cowboy hat and the southern outfit that he does.
The cowboy hat and the southern outfit. Actually, if they go the route that they were going with how that movie ended, he'd probably end up in the outfit that he has when he first appears in the original show.
Yeah.
Who's to say he probably isn't when he's riding the bike?
We need him in the cowboy hat.
He does need to be in the cowboy hat. It's an iconic look.
I will say I did love I did love the final like whole fight sequence with not just the final guy, but the in the tunnel. I really like the tunnel.
That was definitely the highlight. That was definitely the highlight of the entire movie, in my honest opinion.
Yeah, it was probably the biggest set piece. I did like the fight with the final guy, though.
Yeah,
I did too. Those were my two favorites.
The final.
I tend to like those more slow paced fights, the more methodical ones.
The fight with Kamen Rider Reigo, he is brand new. That was brand new to the movie. That was that wasn't anything from the show era or the manga.
Yeah, he's entirely new as like a character, but he's supposed to be like the stand-in for the great leader.
I would also argue somewhat of a stand-in for V3 because of the double typhoon belt. But that's like the only thing I represent that with. Everything else is definitely new since he's a monarch butterfly.
Yeah, that's probably more of a stretch just for saying he's got two fans on his belt. He's closer to Inazumon if he were a writer.
Yeah, he actually is, and they did reference like the robot detective with K, so they probably were referencing Inazuman.
And there was a with I think I or J, I believe there was a Kikaider reference with the shape of the mask.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I saw that as well.
The only thing I will say, one thing that bothered me about that final thing, I was a little surprised that that Ichigo died, and it's not that was the problem. That they had those two bikes in the scene, and I was waiting for both of them to ride off with those bikes, and I felt like that. I'm like, why are the bikes even in these scenes?
For toy sales, of course.
Are they making toys of those?
Yes.
There's figure arts of the motorcycles.
Mm-hmm.
There's already a announced CSN version of both of all the belts and all that as well.
And they have the sewing figures of the riders and the bikes too.
Are you kidding? Kamen Rider not milk the figures to death? That would be blasphemy.
But they had I mean the other bikes that they had, like the new Kamen Rider. He had like two different bikes. Those are the bikes I'm talking about. Do you remember that or not?
No.
Yeah, there were two other bikes that not Ichigo and Nigo's bikes, but there were two other bikes.
Okay.
That were I just remember that because I was like, really? They're not gonna get their bikes destroyed and ride out on like some like older motorcycles? That would have been cool.
They got to work with the new bikes because that's what fits with them.
To be perfectly honest, other than the fight scenes, I don't remember much after the leg.
I remember quite a bit of the characters actually, being characters. That was the one thing I was worried about, that they would just fast forward through a lot of the action and barely get through any actual development. But no, they did it surprisingly well. I thought I was really invested in their character arcs and all that.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I was surprised because I wasn't expecting that with a movie, but yeah, I felt a lot of that for their characters.
Yeah.
Especially the lead actress. My God, I was very yeah.
I was surprised when they killed her off because of how much development they'd given her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought she'd survive it all, especially since, Shin Kamen Rider was doing a crossover with Shin-chan, and I thought it would be like, oh, that's how they all live happy ever after, but nope.
Oh, I kind of had a hunch that the whole cast wasn't staying intact by the end of the movie. And usually when I see a woman in Kamen Rider, I go, up. I'm gonna say my condolences.
Well,
hey,
based on
Poppy survived.
Yeah. Based on like some of the original stuff, like Rurika, I forget which
Rurika.
Rurika. I know she normally survives in the from the original series and the manga, but Ichigo in the manga, the same thing. Essentially, the same thing happens in the movie. Well, that he dies in the manga, but not technically dies. His brain survives. And he's connected to Nigo through his brain being still alive in a tank.
Yeah, and that's where the feeling what he feels and knowing what he thinks and stuff like that comes from. Is that actually happens in the manga?
Yeah.
Okay, I did not know. I thought that was just a brand new ending that they thought of.
Yeah,
that is from 1971. The original Kamen Rider manga came out basically alongside the show as it aired, so it's not one for one exactly the same, but it's supposed to kind of supplement the original Tokusatsu show a little.
Ah, all right, that's fascinating.
So yeah,
he becomes Mother Brain.
Yeah, he does become Brain.
Well, not anymore. Now he's like AI feely wheelie in the helmet.
He's Prana Brain now. Prana Brain.
He's Prana Brain. He's the voice of reason telling Ichimonji he should get the fries with his combo meal.
He's
No,
Jiminy Cricket.
he's
Jiminy
Navi.
Grasshopper.
He's Hal from 2001: A Space Odyssey.
He's not that evil.
Yet.
I was just kind of like, man, I'm just thinking Mr. Belt, Shinosuke.
Oh, God.
Essentially.
That's the real origin of Mr. Belt. He was actually originally Ichigo.
And it all makes sense now.
Now, there was one thing I have seen a lot of people complain about, but a lot of these were ones who have never seen Kamen Rider, or at least the original, was the fact that everyone dissolved into bubbles, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And,
yes.
I knew about that well, but them trying to explain, that's their way of self-destructing. Okay, that sounds pretty plausible.
Mm-hmm.
That leaves no trace, that leaves no explosion, that leaves no little gas pockets people could possibly find and trace them back. I thought it was a really interesting idea and way to go with the self-destruct feature. Instead of just blowing up.
I mean, I get that. Like, honestly, if you're thinking about it all being science and stuff, and if somebody dies, like, you don't want your technology, like, your research being left behind for somebody else to copy. So why not build in a full station?
Exactly. Like in the original show, they do the foam thing, and then they kind of start exploding when it stops being so experimental.
Yeah.
But back when they were supposed to be all cyborgs and mechanical and stuff like that, it definitely would have made more sense. I like that Shin Kamen Rider stayed consistent with it, because if you watch the other reboot movie, the first, they do it once as like a gimmicky Easter egg, and then no one else does that.
Yeah.
I forgot that happened in the first.
I watched the first the night before I went to go see Shin Kamen Rider.
Ah.
I rewatched it.
Yeah, I only watched it a few years ago, and I mean, I enjoyed both. I enjoy both remakes of it, and it's so interesting to see the difference between the original series, the manga, Kamen Rider the First and Shin Kamen Rider.
Yes. It's interesting to see how Ishinomori took his own thing and made it two different things. And it's interesting to see how Inoue rebooted it and how Ono has rebooted it, for sure.
It's interesting that that it's like, was it Ishinomori? He directed an episode of the original series, and it's like one of the very most different episodes of the original series.
It is absolutely one of my favorite episodes.
So, any more thoughts on anything else you guys want to discuss about the movie?
Well, I enjoyed. I know we only talked about a little bit. I enjoyed Ichigo's actor, and like Ichigo, Nigo was more of the highlight, but I did like Ichigo and his arc and how he was a bit different than how he was similar and different than how the others portrayed him.
Yeah. I liked him too, but yeah, Nigo I just liked a little bit more, but he was fun in his own way.
I really liked that Hongo was portrayed as someone who was desperately trying to cling on to his humanity. And you could even see that through how like the actor was like would like shake every time he was holding his helmet and stuff like that. All right, like he doesn't want to be like this horrible, violent like killer that he is when he's like, punching out like Shocker Combat Men. I really liked that because it's something that in like the original they play with it a little bit and then it becomes stale, so they stop. Yeah, it becomes stale and then fused with the fact that Fujioka broke his leg and stopped being in the show, and then they brought in Hayato. Like that also is a huge part of it, but I really enjoyed the fact that they actually took it and they like really went with it.
I did enjoy that about him, and I'll be honest with you, it just makes me think like what would have happened with Kamen Rider in general if he didn't break his leg.
Absolutely, and the thing is that Hayato was like literally written to fill the Kamen Rider role so they could keep the show going. And even the actor for the original role was like, for Hayato, was like, I'm only here to do this, and when I'm done, I'm gone. And he still keeps coming back. He has a restaurant now, and it's entirely themed around the fact that he was Hayato.
Yeah.
I would also... Oops, sorry.
I heard that the reason he doesn't come back to acting as much as he'd like to is that I heard he actually saved people from a burning building and got hurt while doing so.
So I believe it was in the 80s, he and his wife at the time came home from drinking, and in the midst of that, a stove was left on and their home caught fire. And so they had to get, like, the kids out, because when he started filming, like, original Kamen Rider, like, the very first one, when he shows up, he already had kids. He was already married and had kids. He was not a single man. Yes, so he helped his kids and stuff get out, but he suffered a lot of burns, especially to his face, and he disappeared from the public eye for years, did a lot of odd jobs, and there was a point where people would recognize him through, like, the facial, like, burns and stuff like that. He had a lot of surgeries done, but, he's still looking, he looks a lot better. If you looked at him now and, you didn't know that he, like, went through all of that, you would never know. Because I think he recovered from it really well.
Yeah.
Good, at least.
That makes sense.
That is good, yeah.
And he does, the only things that he's really done for Rider is he'll do, like, some guest appearances, and he'll sometimes do voice acting for Rider 2, but he only does, like, theater stuff now. So he closes, like, his restaurant down for, like, one day a week so he can do theater stuff, but also I think a lot of it, too, is that he's admitted that he's getting older and he can't keep up with it.
That makes perfect sense.
Right? I mean, it has been 50 years, so...
Absolutely. Like, these actors are in their early to mid-70s now, so...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But they could still at least pull up for a few cameos here and there for a little Henshin Posen and all that, like they did with Zaycross and all that, for the Shinobi
absolutely.
Tycoon crossover.
I still need to watch that.
It's really, really fun.
Nexus, so you were gonna say something. Did you wanna?
Let's see. One of the other cool facts I thought was really, really interesting was all the markings that they get when they change and activate their prana, and the whole energy and all that, and how their facial features change and alter to a little bit. I thought that was a really interesting idea and take, that they literally do take the aspects of the said creatures they're fused with. Because if you look at his hands when he takes off the gloves, you see the grasshopper little like jump spikes on his arms and hands, and I thought that was very fascinating.
Yeah, cool. I love the mutant approach that they went with for the augmentation.
I still can't get over the fact that the new writer and all that for the movie and all that, I forget his name, but him getting that monarch butterfly proboscis snout and everything, and on his forehead, just like, ew, don't stick that in my head, please don't. I don't want to get brain sucked, so I can Starship Troopers.
His name is Kamen Rider Rego. It's number 0.
Yeah. I thought it'd be Zergo or something like that.
Ray is Japanese for 0.
Okay.
One of them.
Also, the fact that each of some of the fights and how you see their prana and all that, like with Spider, he gets more legs and can shoot more arms, I should say, and shoot webs. But the Wasp was probably the more fascinating ones because she had kind of like a solar panel-esque like design for her suit that allows her to move super fast, and that was really fascinating to watch of how it just glowed and shimmered.
Oh yeah, I loved her suit. I loved she. Not only did I love her acting, I thought she was like the best. Like she was my favorite design and everything involved with her. I thought like that the story with everybody, like it was just
if they didn't kill her, she probably would have actually helped join them. That would have been a very interesting idea. You could get a semi tackle person in a sense.
Yeah.
So Hiromi in the original show is actually one of Ruriko's friends from school.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where that connection comes in. The bee woman in the original is not Hiromi; it's just a random lady.
Yeah.
But you always got to have the bee woman in because it's the iconic first female villain that Showa Rider ever has. Hiromi does die in the manga, though.
Well,
she is actually killed by the bat. The Batman. Yes.
Speaking of the bat, his idea of bringing all those what were they, all clones of the same girl, of the main heroine? That was just so fucking creepy.
That was one of those things where I was like, oh yeah, this was made by Anno. This is an Anno movie. That's the Ray.
But his death from the rider kick was still fascinating. Just a foot imprint into the back. Just
looked painful.
That is also one thing I really enjoyed, how all the rider kicks were so goddamn brutal.
Mm-hmm.
They were brutal because, otherwise, in Rider, they're kind of cheesy looking.
Yeah. But
I'm glad that they kept the tone of giving it impact instead of just being here's the suit actor on a line, getting lowered down as we put effects over them.
Yeah, let's do a simple soft touch kick and let him go flying and explode in pieces.
On the TV show, they got to keep it family friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas they can imply a bit more violence in the film.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
But I will say, probably my only disappointment, at least one time I would have liked them say rider kick. I thought that was going to happen in the tunnel scene, at least once, but no, and I was like, oh, at least they said Henshin.
Well, I knew they were going to save Henshin for Ichimonji because he was the first one that said it.
Yeah, and it was in the trailer as well.
The one thing I liked was that they went differently with Rurika and Ichigo in the beginning, because normally she sees her father in his arms and thinks that he killed him, and she's against him.
But yeah, then it's revealed she's practically an AI living computer. I was like, okay, that's a little bit more fascinating.
Yeah,
that's
I'm
new
glad
take on the
went
character.
Yeah, I'm glad they went differently with this one. I like the new aspects they added to it.
She was probably like literally my favorite character of the entire movie. I thought she was portrayed and done and acted really well done, given what she was given.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
She's probably like the one character that really made me cry that whole time.
Same.
That whole movie.
The moment she died, I was like, oh, that mantis chameleon motherfucker! I cannot wait for you to die. And it was
it was the will. It was the will that got me.
Oh yeah.
And that was another thing, that they combined two old enemies into one as the chameleon mantis. That was a really fascinating idea. I was like, oh, okay, that's new. Well, that's gonna be a toy.
Yeah, they had to wedge in that subtle Gel Shocker reference, even if that wasn't specifically a Gel Shocker monster.
Right.
Yeah, but it was so fun to see.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm surprised we didn't get Ambassador Hell in the giant crab outfit.
No, I would have preferred I would have loved if Starfish Hitler popped up and said it's more than time.
That's X. That's X. There's no Starfish Hitler in OG Rider. We're gonna have to get Shin Keisuke first.
Yes.
Tomato, potato, whatever.
Shin Keisuke.
If they ever actually do that and actually make an Shin Kamen Rider X, they're going to have to heavily change that Starfish Hitler thing so much if they ever did decide to add it.
You know, I'm going to be real. That's not the only one they're going to have to change.
You mean Scorpion Geronimo?
There was Scorpion Geronimo there twice.
Oh.
There was Scorpion Geronimo who wanted revenge for the Indians, and then there was Scorpion Geronimo Jr. who wanted revenge for Scorpion Geronimo.
Oh, shit.
You only hear about Starfish Hitler, not the other problem.
Exactly. Scorpion Geronimo, I genuinely think, is the worst one, because Starfish Hitler was always supposed to be a villain. Like, it's Hitler. You're going to beat him up. You might as well make fun of him. Alright, but when they were like, here are Native Americans, like a portrayal of Native Americans as hostile and savage, I was like, no, that one's not it. And that's actually a problem that Showa Tokusatsu has a lot of. Because a lot of how they learned about like cowboys and Indian type stuff is from American Westerns.
Yeah. We apologize for that stuff. Another little cool thing that I thought of, I remember, was the change of Shocker from this evil terrorist world organization to a cult. They're basically a representation of the Science Happy cult in Japan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because just the idea of everything's happy, everything's all good, because we get to do what we can and we're just free, is just, and their mind control methods are literally one-to-one to happy science and all that. And I was just baffled that they would go that route because of how, semi-influential they kind of are in Japan, but they're not to the point of, they're going to take over the entire country, but they're enough prominent figures for them to be recognized.
I mean, Kamen Rider has also executed a guy that was supposed to be Shinzo Abe in a show. Right before I think he got assassinated. Like right around the time Shinzo Abe got assassinated, Black Sun came out.
Oh, yeah.
And there is a character who is very much supposed to be Shinzo Abe. He gets brutally murdered in the end.
God, if that happened in America with JF Kennedy, where it was like, hey, we're going to make this fun little comedy where he gets shot, and then it actually happens, they would be
that thing would never air again.
Yeah. But
right.
Japan is different, so they can usually sometimes take the punches. No pun intended. I was also very surprised of all the bike action, because I know that's usually prominent with all Showa, but I still thought they would still, not show as much as I thought it was.
And the bike action in Kamen Rider.
We're not used to bikes! We're not used to bikes!
The fact that it was practically sentient, because if you looked on some of the walking scenes, it followed behind both of them.
Yes! I loved that it was a friend.
With how little in the way of bike scenes we get in modern Kamen Rider, at some point they're going to have to change it to Kamen Walker.
In the eyes of a stranger.
Yeah, but I will say it's probably my favorite version of the original bike, only followed up by the powered up version from the Ghost movie. Those are probably my two favorite versions of the original Cyclone. Because they just look so cool. They feel like you have the speed, and once he pulls the handles down to change, and I literally felt like you would probably get like Mach speed backlash from that if you try to drive that yourself.
What, you didn't feel the power of the wind from the original series with that backdrop and the old special effects hitting you? What?
No, that stuff felt more like a light breeze than an actual powered tornado thing. And
I mean, if you're drunk enough, it's a hurricane.
True. Or enough LSD.
I didn't realize until I saw the movie the green half of Kamen Rider Double is a reference to Kamen Rider Ichigo, isn't it? Because the whole Cyclone thing.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
I will also say the idea with the life force prana thing as well for the whole basis of their powers was an actually really good take, and it has like a unique way of spin of like the modern day version of chi and all that other stuff, and how it flows in the belts, and then they have a little button to just expel it. I thought it was so fascinating to see in effect wise.
Yeah, that was really unique.
What did you guys think? I know that they didn't have the biggest role, but what did you guys think of? I'm blanking on the second guy's name, but Tachibana, was that it?
Tachibana and Taki.
Yeah,
I thought they were going to be like secret shockers, just want to get rid of them and take over. I thought they were going to go that route, that they're still evil jerks, but no, they're just here to just stop Shocker overall, and that's about it. I thought it was going to get a lot worse.
I kind of could smell out that the guy that was Shin Ultraman was going to be, like, part of, like, some higher organization, like FBI or something, and I was like, oh, I bet one of them is Taki. I bet that guy's Taki, because he's, like, he gives me the Taki vibes. I forgot Tachibana existed, so when the other guy introduced himself as Tachibana, I was like, oh, you poor soul. They want you to be the pops.
He's been with 7 Riders. How do you forget him?
Yeah. Well, listen, I've been Ultraman brained for a bit, so.
He was in the first Ultraman series too. The actor, at least.
Yeah. Oh no, the actor. He appeared in. He does an episode in Q. He does all of the OG Ultraman, and then he is in an episode of 7 of Return of Ultraman, and an episode of Ace.
Nice.
Yes, he's an Ace.
As well as the Mega Battle Galaxy when Zero first appeared.
He is?
Yeah, he and the original Ultra 7 actor were both in that movie.
That's interesting, because the actor died in the 90s.
Right.
Oh, then I don't know what the heck I was...
Who are you talking about?
Might be someone
Apparently a ghost.
Or they reused old footage.
Or they reused his corpse.
It's Japan.
You know, if he's made it to the mid-2000s to be in an Ultraman Zero movie, then I'm impressed that he's held up that well for a decade, being dead and cremated.
Oh, it's Japan. They got ghosts out the ass. They can revive the dead, and it's fine.
Well, realistically, though, if it was mid-2000s, they might have just repurposed some old footage of him. That's plausible.
I could just be fully wrong. I thought that was the original Ultraman actor.
Oh no, we were talking about. We're talking about Tachibana's actor, who was in the original Ultraman series.
Yeah, Tachibana's actor plays Captain Muramatsu in the original Ultraman.
Oh, okay.
You're probably talking about Shin Hayata's actor.
Yeah, probably. Mostly.
Yeah,
he
was definitely alive. He's still alive.
He is still alive. I promise you that. If anyone else is hearing it, he's still alive. I'm not spreading misinformation.
Comments, tell them how bad they messed up. Tell them how bad they messed up the timeline.
I've killed Shin Hayata in the 90s. I'm sorry.
Now I've got the song from Portal stuck in my head.
I've heard of Kamen Rider Ghost, but I didn't know there was Ultraman Ghost.
Not yet. I mean, we have Ultraman X and Kamen Rider X, so
anything is possible.
I gotta finish watching Ultraman X.
It was my first Ultraman series that I fully sat down and watched. I thought it was pretty fascinating.
It wasn't my first Ultraman, but it was the first one that I was old enough to realize what I was watching. So, because I actually, my first Ultraman, without me realizing it, was actually the original Ultraman because it got a English dub back when I was a kid.
Yeah, and I think I might saw clips of stuff like that, Tiga and Powered, but I don't remember much. I just knew that Ultraman was just as old as Godzilla. That's the only thing that I remembered.
I only remember the commercials of Ultraman Tiga during like Foxbox or whatever.
My first ever encounter with Ultraman was being at a Suncoast Movies in like the late 2000s. And I was like really into Tezuka and Astro Boy at the time. And my dad found one of the Mill Creek Blu-ray sets, or not Blu-ray, there was no Blu-ray then. DVD sets, there we go, that's more like it. And it was Ultraman. And he picks it up and he goes, "You see this? This was my Astro Boy." As if Astro Boy was like brand new and I just like got into it because it was new. And that was my first encounter with Ultraman. I didn't touch it for like a decade and a half after.
I was waiting for you to say VHS.
No, it wasn't a VHS. It was actually a DVD of the whole thing. And now I have to go get it because I do want like the original English dub. No matter how like racist sounding it is.
I used to have a DVD copy that I gotten from Target because Target had a DVD box set of the original English dub of Ultraman for like $5. I don't know whatever happened to my box set though. Like it just sort of disappeared in one of my moves.
Huh. Yeah, I've been finding a lot of people selling it for pretty cheap on Mercari, so I'm not too worried about it being hard to find.
Yeah,
everyone wants to get rid of it.
Well, it was a really bad dub.
Oh, it was, but I love bad dubs, so it's entirely up my alley.
Oh,
the original Ultraman, on top of being a rough dub, the special effects have not aged as gracefully as you might expect from an Ultraman show.
One of the first scene with Bolton, it is actually, I was very amazed that they were able to pull something off like that in the 60s.
That's true. True.
Some of the other stuff isn't as great, but some stuff was pretty revolutionary at the time, so.
Because at least with modern day stuff, I kind of consider Ultraman the gold standard of kaiju battle stuff. They do it better than pretty much any other Toku.
Usually.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, I still gotta go watch my first Ultraman.
You will.
I could start X over and we could watch that together.
I've got one in mind that I want to go watch, but we got the Blu-rays, so.
What one are you thinking?
Is it R&B?
Rube.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely let me know when you're going to start that because that was actually next up on my list, and I have the Blu-ray of it too.
We have the Blu-ray of that, and I actually recently got X in because some of these Ultraman Blu-rays are like $7.99, $8.99 on Amazon right now. So
yeah, they're real cheap.
I have both X and Rube. I want to finish X, but Rube is supposed to be my next one to start.
I'm still waiting for Zet to get a Blu-ray release in the West.
That should be soon.
I have all the Showa stuff. We're almost done watching through it too. That's why I'm Zach HR lady.
Am I not the oldest person on this podcast for once?
I don't know how old are you.
I am 40.
Holy shit! Yes. Yeah, you're the oldest person. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
She
I'm
just
still
likes
the boomer.
old stuff.
I love Showa era, so.
So do I. So as we
I'm better for the new shiny stuff.
I like when there's like no technology and they're making everything with like craft paper and a dream
And toys.
and toys.
I
just
quite
remember-
like it.
I
don't quite like it that old school, but I prefer that they not heavily use CGI. I'm not a fan of CGI in Toku.
I got used to it. It's not that big of a problem for me as long as the story and characters and the action is good enough. I'm fine with CG.
I accept
I'm actually
bad
with
CGI.
I accept bad CGI solely for the fact that it could have been miniatures. It could have been bad miniatures instead. It could have been a miniature truck rolling into the waterways instead of whatever else they chose to do with it.
I really like the rubber suit monsters and the rubber suit Megazords.
I'm with Nexus. I like the characters, the story. That's what really matters to me. But I will say that I can't I can't really complain about Kamen Rider or Japanese CGI after what we watched in Power Rangers in April with
Or Marvel or DC.
No. I was just specifically saying the Megazord and the Power Rangers.
Once and always.
I still have yet to see it.
That's okay. That's okay. You want to know what will really make you appreciate Kamen Rider CGI? The Flash.
I could not do that.
No, I would probably say the Justice League would make you appreciate it.
Oh no, the Flash movie, the CGI is laughably bad. Like
Even more so than the CGI mustache.
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's real bad. Real bad.
I didn't even try to see it because I don't even want to touch that movie because of, Arizona and all that.
Well, there's 200 other people involved in that production that also make money off of it. I can tolerate him, and I'm a humongous Flash fan. So,
Horse Flash.
What's that?
Nothing.
Like worst Flash or something like that.
Well, Ezra is the worst Flash, but at least it's still a Flash movie.
But I with CGI, I watched the the third season of Garo, which heavily used CGI. It's like one of my favorite series, but it does look like a PS2 game at times.
I'm just going to throw it out there. You guys know we've just started a completely second podcast, right?
Yes.
And
us digress on a podcast? Never.
We somehow we took the cyclone and drove to Ultraman and other Toku and CGI.
I can put it back on track though. Speaking of bad CGI, Batman.
I was fine with it. I was like, this is fine. He's gonna die. It's gonna be funny. And it was.
It looked like a meme face photoshopped on a drone.
It was probably the worst of. It was really the bad CGI as far as that whole movie goes.
I think what made it really frustrating is the movie in general doesn't really have CGI issues, but that one monster and the subsequent fight scene with it was just so jarringly bad compared to the rest of the movie in terms of the effects.
I always ask people this. Did anyone else watch the version of Shin Kamen Rider where at least twice in the movie there were just giant Tetris blocks made out of destroyed cars that dropped down into the road in front of Hongo?
I don't recall.
Or did I? Because it happens in the beginning chase scene, and it happens in the tunnel scene, and I'm starting to think I hallucinated it. Because it looked really bad. I remember it looked really bad.
We'll let you know.
I'm pretty sure there was a Tetris marathon and some LSD involved there.
I swear I was completely sober when I saw this movie too. Okay, so July 21st, you guys will have to go and make sure that I did not hallucinate that, at least in the beginning. I remember it in the beginning, alright? But it was also in the tunnel scene when he's facing the Shocker Riders. It was like a wall, it was like a giant block made out of cars all crushed together, and they just kind of flumps down into his way.
Did you by any chance also hear the Tetris theme playing while you watched this?
I did not hear Kurobishka, but and that's rare because usually I do hear it in my brain.
Now it's in my brain.
That's okay. That's okay. My brain currently has a mix between the Tetris theme and Barbie Girl.
Poppy Girl now. Poppy Girl.
Poppy Girl.
You know, we could probably. I wonder how we can write a parody song, right?
AI's already gained that, so why not?
I'd rather make the lyrics myself, not use AI.
Oh, come on. Chat GPT is fine.
It's fine, but it's fine to talk to, but I could write it myself, just like my Rider-Man parody of Spider-Man that I'm working on.
Well, let's not go down the dark path of an AI podcast. That's a discussion.
The only AI we should talk about is K, and the ones that were in the movie.
I'd smash. Speaking of, the moment when the credits were rolling and all that, and he played both the new and old version of Let's Go Rider Kick, I was singing along with that with my friend.
Nice.
I was like, I couldn't stop. I was like, I have to see it. I had to see it, and I did. I was the only one who seen it.
Was anyone else disappointed there wasn't something else at the end? I know we waited.
I was kind of hoping for like a special end credit scene of like, oh, maybe we'll tease the next Shin Kamen Rider if you support it enough. But no, it just played the original video of the Let's Go Rider Kick.
I was waiting for the Shin Vengers to come. You know that Shin Ultraman's host was there to team up with the Evangelion and Godzilla.
The Shin Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for Shin Super Sentai.
We got that with them combining into one giant robot.
Yeah, we did get it. The Shin Super Sentai were the Shin movies we made along the way.
All joking aside, though, I do have to wonder if they'll do something with like Go Ranger.
Probably at this point.
He's a big Toku fanboy, so I can't imagine him wanting to stop just at the ones he's done.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God! Just imagine if he tried to do one with Shin Amazon. I mean, we
more brutal.
If we get another Shin Kamen Rider, I would really like to see Stronger. And I have a specific. Well, I have two reasons for that, but one of them doesn't involve tackle. No, I always wanted to see that suit remade with modern technology.
Go
ahead.
He would look really well done in modern technology.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that'd be a very fascinating suit and series to go with. I'd also even say with Shin Kuga. That'd be a pretty interesting idea.
Yeah.
I know it's not that old, but at the same time, the CG in Kuga is pretty bad too.
I just always thought was Stronger. That was because I never got around to finishing Stronger, but when I watched it, I really liked. And the one thing that always struck me is it was a really good show with a really ridiculous-looking suit because they just didn't have the ability to properly execute it at the time.
Yeah.
And he always has a smile on his face. Just because of how part of it goes.
He didn't even play any football.
But bright side, if they don't make a Shin Stronger, they could make another version like Black Sun and Amazons and make Stronger the next step for that.
That would
I think they should
Stronger as a TV show like they did Amazons. I could see something like that.
They could make a Shin Super 1 and actually make a Super 1 I enjoy.
Oh, shade.
With an actor who is in bones in a cave somewhere because he's been missing for like a decade.
Well, that's why you don't piss off the Yakuza.
But let's be perfectly honest. What we really need is Shin Forze, because we need that level of ultra violence killing them with friendship.
What are you talking about? There's enough violence as it is.
My friends are my power. Boom. Hole in your chest.
Blood everywhere.
My friends are too much power.
This is the true power of friendship. Mass murder.
Like Kingdom Hearts to the extreme.
Ah, yes. The light and the darkness.
It would just be 90s Forza. Add a few pouches and you're there.
Pretty much. And since we're already on weird topics and everything and all that, I would also say that the ending with, we know Ichigo dies and his soul is now in the helmet and they're riding off together, but them incorporating both designs into this new version of Kamen Rider at the end of the movie, I thought was really fascinating. It's like, oh yeah, he's the new Ichigo now. I thought that was...
The official name, it looks like online, says it's like Kamen Rider 2+1? I don't know, it's 2 in 1 or something like that.
So it's Kamen Rider 3.
They've become V3 together.
Sounds to me like Kamen Rider. Sounds to me like Kamen Rider algebra.
Throw X in. We need X for that.
But regardless, him being like, I'm just going to clean up Shocker and then writing off whatever happens. I thought it was a really good ending. Just as a little, like, commemorating of, hey, he probably is still out there fighting Shocker and all that, so we just don't know it.
Yeah.
I want to make Kamen Rider Pi now. Using
That's
both
okay.
Pi.
That's okay. I just had the perfect lead into my Shin Stronger movie.
Mm-hmm.
So Ichigo's soul or brain or whatever is trapped in the helmet, right?
Yeah.
You just give that to whoever's going to be Kamen Rider Stronger, and you can have Shin Stronger. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
They're supposed to be a Kabuto beetle, not a grasshopper.
Danny Sex are all the same.
Listen, he was supposed to also play football, but we don't see that either.
I mean, that's what the shoulder pads are for.
Yeah, he's a football player.
Oh wow!
An American football player.
No, it has to be based off of shogi. We all know that's the ultimate thing.
Oh boy.
Overall, I would definitely say Shin Kamen Rider is definitely a movie for not just Toku fans to watch, but many other people, especially action movie lovers, because it's a really fascinating experience. And it would also give it an insight for those who don't know what's what, because I've seen so many react videos like, oh, it's Power Rangers! And I just want to see them... I just want to see them watch that full movie and be amazed and be like, okay, nope, I want to see more of this.
Well, it could be a good segue for like the John Wick crowd to get into Toku.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, definitely.
You know?
Or the Fast and the Furious one. Josh said that when we were in the movie, he thought we were watching, went into that accidentally.
Yeah, I did.
And probably from maybe Showa and Drive, maybe, but not everything else. It
was missing a really key element of the Fast and Furious. There was no family. Yeah.
The family was the friends they made along the way. They're all in the helmet together.
Wasn't there a whole dad brother sister thing there?
Yeah.
See, Fast and Furious is good.
There were families. There was family in there. The whole Midorikawa family was there, and they also all died. But you know, if only Vin Diesel were there. If only Vin Diesel were there.
They're in the helmet together.
They are in the helmet together.
I just really, really enjoyed it when Momotaros came in and said it's Morbin time, and he became a giant Godzilla.
Oh
that was such a fascinating moment. Overall, I'm going to definitely buy this on Blu-ray. If there's some like special extras, special limited edition set, I'm still going to buy it like that.
I hope it comes to Blu-ray.
It did make me want. It did make me want to see Shin Ultraman. So
I mean,
I love Shin Ultraman.
It was a fascinating retelling. And the fact that it's already getting a DVD release and it's already on Crunchyroll, I say it's highly likely it will get the same treatment.
Oh, is Shin Ultraman on Crunchyroll?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I heard that the Blu-ray release did have faulty subtitles, so I would say stream it for now until a newer version of the disc release comes out.
Yeah,
I've got
DVD on
It looks like they confused closed captions with actual subtitles. So there's like actual closed captioning mixed in with the subs.
Oh yeah.
Errors in it. Bad errors in it.
But definitely stream it if you can, because if we kind of get pissed off enough about it but still want to watch the movie, they'll probably release another edition to appease us, because I also heard that the subs are better. They don't have that issue. So
from what I can tell, it looked fine. Same thing when I saw Shin Godzilla in theaters. I thought the subtitles were all fine.
Yeah, the actual movie did the subtitles right. It was just it was
the home video release.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, anybody else wants to give their final opinion on it?
Sure.
10 out of 10. We'll buy on Blu-ray. Please give me Rider Power's sugar daddy.
I still really enjoyed it. I think talking about it more just made me, even when I got home from it, and just made me enjoy it more. And I just, from the things I've said, like, they did the characters well, the action was good. It only had, like, some scenes were a little much, or, but it still was, like, very interesting how he did his own unique take on the original Kamen Rider story. And even the ending of him riding off and still fighting Shocker is like how some of the older Kamen Rider shows ended. They just rode off and they're still fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a little more lukewarm on it, but I'm also, of the bunch of us, probably the least big Kamen Rider fan.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it, but it just, it was fun. It was a fun watch.
I really enjoyed it. I felt it was a really perfect marriage of the original show, the original manga, and Anno just wanting to do his own thing with it as well. And I also really liked that a lot of friends that I had who don't watch Showa the way I do, or watch Showa at all, still wanted to see it and walked out of it absolutely loving it and loving the characters. So I hope it kind of turns more people on to, like, wanting to see the original where the characters came from, especially because I feel like the portrayal of some of the characters was pretty close to how they were originally portrayed.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Not to mention, if this can get even more Kamen Rider fans worldwide, go for it.
Oh, absolutely. I know that I think when it was announced, there was always a plan for an international release, especially for us to have it in theaters. So I'm really glad that it happened, and it happened sooner rather than later, because the wait for Shin Ultraman was like twice as long as the wait for Shin Kamen Rider.
It was.
As well as Shin Godzilla. That was also pretty long, too, to get out.
Yeah, like, I think I speculated based off of, like, the Shin Ultraman, like, between Shin Ultraman releasing and us actually getting to see Shin Ultraman, I thought we were going to get to see Shin Kamen Rider in a theater in November. So getting to see it in May after it came out in March was, like, awesome.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that is good.
Yeah. And anything else? Because I'll give my final thoughts. And
honestly, just for those who prior tuning into the podcast and just want to know our results, I would say show this to anyone who just likes action as well. Even if they're a fan or not, even if they don't know anything, I would say show it to them and just let them see how visually appealing it can be and how well this can be compared to Western media and Western movies. Especially
just maybe warn them about the leg.
I think personal experience plays a lot into that, because if you've had a knee injury before, seeing that leg injury, you feel it.
Oh yeah,
I think that plays into a lot of that. So
Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely still say show us as many people as possible. Get this up, because now that the fact that one of the new heads at Toei is trying to actually get more worldwide appeal for the two franchises, this could help be that stepping stone for that.
Yeah. I agree.
Are you talking? Oh, sorry.
No, go for it.
Oh, I was going to say, are you talking about Shirakura? Because he was the one who really did want to push for Shin Kamen Rider being put in theaters for us.
Yeah.
He got promoted.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And he is wanting to push it more, not just to America, but he also says Southeast Asia, the Netherlands, Europe. He's one.
Yeah, I feel like Europe gets left out a lot. Europe and other parts of like sometimes Kamen Rider just ends up being Kamen Rider in the United States. So seeing other countries that aren't just the United States, like Mexico, Canada, and like Europe and South America and stuff like that, seeing them all get put into the loop would be fantastic for Kamen Rider, especially considering that at the moment Team Kamen Rider has been largely dead in the water. So I'm really looking forward to seeing more out of it.
We all need jobs, Team Kamen Rider. If you want to hire some new people,
better yet, get TV Neon on this and let them start subbing the releases.
Well, and I'll finish up here and say that. But first, just to bring the attention to Kamen Rider and other toku, definitely check out Tubi, because that's where I'm currently watching Kamen Rider Ryuki and a lot of different Super Sentai. So if you're listening and don't know where to go, that's the place to get some new old stuff, basically.
Well, and in addition to that, if you are an Amazon Prime subscriber, Prime Video has an add-on that's like an extra $3 a month that gets you Kamen Rider and Ultraman and a few other popular Japanese franchises that are a little bit harder to watch in the US as well. So that's another alternative as well.
I would also say on Twitch, Tokushoutsu is streaming many old seasons, many current seasons, nearly 24/7 on there. So if you guys people just want to jump in, binge, and not worry about what you're watching, Twitch has you for that.
Also, Pluto TV also has a Tokushoutsu is also on Pluto TV as well, doing the same thing.
Is Kamen Rider still doing a YouTube channel? Because I know they were for a while where they were showing older stuff.
They have only the first few episodes of it.
Yeah, there's only like two episodes. I think Kuka just got third episode finally.
Yeah.
And
lots of places to watch.
Yeah, a lot of places to watch. Most of them are free, with the exception of the few extra few dollars for on Amazon. Besides your
and Crunchyroll. There are some Ultraman and stuff on Crunchyroll as well.
Yeah. So, but you've got a few free options and a few pay options. Just go check it out. Enjoy. My opinion on the movie was it was pretty solid. I overall enjoyed it. It's hard for me to really say like a number score, because I'm still trying to figure out the number score in my head for Final Fantasy 16, but that's not for this podcast. So with that being said, go and check it out. It was fun. It was something different. If you've never watched Kamen Rider, if you have watched Kamen Rider, it's good, and it still is something different, even as a Kamen Rider fan. It was definitely a more mature take than you might be used to. So, with that being said, thank you for listening. Check us out on social media, and give us any feedback. And what you'd like to hear from us next time. Thanks for joining us, and see you next time.